Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
If you've been hurt in a road accident that wasn't your fault, you should really talk to G4 Claims first. Unlike road accident solicitors, we don't charge you for our services, which could see you better off. To keep 100% of your compensation, have a chat with Nicole and the team. You'll be glad you did. Search online for G4 Claims.
Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sellik the Thunder podcast. It is episode number 73. Kind of gave it away in the last episode. Johnson. Cheers, Gint. Didn't even let me build it up or nothing. You just go right in there.
I've been waiting for this moment to actually know, man.
Well, what would you say if I told you there's actually two?
Tell you fuck
two
off.
Mikey Johnsons. Two Mikey Johnsons. Well, do you know what? It's not as if I'm lying to you here, because there is actually two 73s to try and get here. So if you want to try and fathom a guess as to who the other might be,
that's a tricky one.
It's not really. It's as recent as the 21-22 season, apparently.
Cameron Harper?
No.
He wasn't even there 21,
because
22.
it was after, obviously Johnson changed to 19, didn't he? So I'll just give you it because I can't be bored sitting here talking about Moddy. Owen Moffat.
Oh, fuck.
Okay. There you go. Owen Moffat apparently wore number 73. I didn't remember him wearing 73.
Nah, neither.
I hardly remember him.
He was a cracking wee player. Where is he? In Blackpool, isn't he?
Blackpool.
It's a shame. Anyway, welcome along to the Sellik the Thunder podcast. We're back. We're on a roll now because this is the first time we've had back-to-back episodes in quite a while, and we're back to the old format of the one camera, the three-man show. Callum Craig is no longer with us.
Fuck's sake.
Rest in peace. No, I'll be back hopefully in the next episode. It's just the three of us tonight. Ryan McGinley, I'll start with you. How you doing there in the middle? We are post-Derby, and we're, well, as Ange says, we never stop, so we've just got to keep going. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Happy we didn't get beat at the weekend. It was looking that way for a wee while.
The weekend, it was Monday.
It still feels like it was the weirdest bit. Let's be honest, it was the weirdest Monday ever. It's so odd. But no, given the circumstances, delighted with the outcome. We never stop. Ange says that again and again, and it's rung true again.
If anybody was wondering what I was doing there, I was contemplating taking the headphones off just to fit in, but then I realised
we don't want to repeat it.
It's happened before, so I'm going to keep it on. I'm not going to play the risk. Kieran Ald's on the left hand side of the table. Nice to see you, Kieran. What about you? How you doing?
No rough. I've had a few days to recover after the debauchery on Monday.
I'm surprised you have recovered, to be fair.
I know.
I've barely.
I'm still a shelly man, but enough of a man to come here and face the music.
Nah, there's no music.
I had to have faced the music if we go beat, to be fair.
Yeah, I'm glad.
After some serious trash talking that was done on this podcast.
Absolutely.
Not by me.
You directing those comments anywhere in particular?
The other three people on the podcast.
Kieran kept himself humble for a reason, it seems. But before we get into talking about all of that, very quickly, Happy New Year to all of our listeners, all of our viewers. This is technically the first podcast of the year, but it's not at the same time.
Because the other one didn't get uploaded until this year.
Exactly, I uploaded on the 1st of January. But this is the first time we've recorded in the new year, so technically it's our first episode of 2023. So Happy New Year to everybody from everyone here at the Sellik the Thunder, including Callum Craig, who you will see in the very near future. Anyway, let's talk very briefly about that game at the week. Then I nearly done a you there, said at the weekend. It's just so easy, isn't it? It's just
you just assume that we do play at the weekend.
Exactly. It's either a weekend or the Wednesday night or something. So, but let's talk about that game on Monday and get it out of the way, because we of course want to move forward. We want to look forward, but as every derby does, it has left us with some controversies that we need to talk about. In general, let's start with the performance. I'll come over to you, Kieran, first. 2-2, a game that Celtic kind of struggled through for portions of the game, but at the end didn't lose. What was your overall thoughts of the performance on Monday?
I mean, it was a game of different spells, I thought, because we started well, then we allowed them into it. I feel like the turning point that allowed them into it was Joe Hart's near calamitous error in front of Broomland's stand, because that was pretty shocking. Like, just pure poor decision making, and it nearly cost us, to be fair, but obviously it did pull it back with a save for Ryan Kent's shot. But I mean, in the first half, I was relatively pleased. I think we could have been the more pleased team in the first half, obviously. But even though we did allow them to get a sniff into it, and then the second half, they were the team that came flying at the traps and got the 2 goals. Stupid penalty to get away. It was a penalty. You shouldn't be diving in there and even giving the ref a decision to make. Obviously, you've got the contentious penalty claim for us, which I'm sure we'll go into a bit more depth about in a minute. But I'm happy we managed to rescue it in the end. But overall, it wasn't a stellar performance for us at all. So it's one we can be the happier team with the draw in that, because we rescued it. I think if we lost it in that fashion, it would have felt like a defeat. But
yeah. I mean, it's 9 points that it remains. Better 9 than 6, Ryan.
Very true.
A lot of people jump into Twitter straight away, and I must admit, I agreed with the knee-jerk reaction of most people saying perhaps our worst performance of the season. But even after one of the worst performances of the season, it just shows the mentality of this squad and the place that we're in. We did dig deep, we did find that goal, and it ultimately doesn't really change the landscape of where the season seems to be heading.
Yeah, I mean, what are we, 4 or 5 games in after the break? If someone was to tell me you'd be the exact same as what you were before the break, you'd be absolutely delighted with that, because we've had some tough fixtures, including the game at Ibrox. Yeah, it wasn't our best performance at all. I think it's a toss-up between that and the St Mirren performance for the worst of the season, certainly domestically, but it just shows you the strength and depth, the people that we can bring on that can really change a game. I think 3 players that were vital to the goal, other than Kyogo, were all subs.
Yeah.
I mean, the Jota's passed to Moy being in that area, Yakimakis even getting the flick on. He was a wee bit lucky with the flick on off of Ryan Jack, but he's still there to do the business, and then Kyogo with a great finish to break his duck. It just shows you the strength and depth that Rangers clearly don't have. That's the difference between the two sides. I would say you see the players that they were bringing on, you're thinking
Scott Wright
and James Sands especially.
Yeah.
He's just, when I seen him coming on, I was like, we still got a chance in this game. I was saying to the people around me in the pub, I was saying, we're going to get one more chance here. We need to take it when it comes. And as if by magic,
to be fair to us, we did do well to try and just put away the chances we did get, but because it seemed like we were scarcely getting chances in that game, obviously down to the way we were playing, but even in the periods of time where we were on top in the game in the first half especially, I feel like apart from Maeda's goal, obviously contributed by 2 ridiculous pieces of try to defend for Tavernier and Goldson, but I don't know, I felt like we weren't as free flowing as usual, and obviously that's been spoken about, the actual overall performance. But see, this was what I was going to say. See, for our second goal, did you think it was going to get chopped offside at first? Because I didn't see us getting played on by Barisic.
I remember you saying this when we went up for when I got to the pub finally, and that was the first thing you said to me is I didn't even celebrate because I thought it was going to get called off. Honestly, I was just too ecstatic watching the ball hit the net. It didn't even cross my mind.
I celebrated, but at the same time, it was very reserved.
Did you see Tom Boyd's reaction on Celtic TV? He was just he was refusing to celebrate. He was like he was convinced that it was going to get chopped.
I'd forgotten how to celebrate. I actually felt like I was going to have a heart attack or something. No, I'd only had 4 drinks at that point. I was actually quite calm, but I just wasn't expecting the goal to come. Like I said, we were going to get a chance, but I was kind of resigning myself to the fact that we were going to lose the game. So the fact that it just came to it, and Kyogo with a great chance and a great finish, I was delighted, but it took me a wee bit to properly get into it. I was a bit shaken, but I was glad.
Yeah, I've never been so glad in my life, because that's the thing is, you know, if it did suddenly become 6 points, I wouldn't have been at panic stations. I wouldn't have been, number one, I couldn't have been bothered with the reaction we'd have probably seen online.
No.
But number two, I think that it would have certainly changed the course of the next few weeks' conversations. You know, it would have been 6 points is still a great position to be in, but I think that people would start talking about the pendulum swing and Rangers suddenly open doors, and then obviously you've got a January window. But I think from this game, what we've seen as well is the positives, and I want to talk about some of the positives, because as much as I don't want to dwell on the past, the game is done and over. There's players, there's individuals that we can talk about moving forward. One of them was the guy who was thrown in for his debut, because Alistair Johnson was absolutely brilliant, right?
He was phenomenal. I seen that Hamish tweeted, was it the day before the game?
And he said that we filmed together and they said the same thing.
Yeah, I was watching the video as well, and it seems like it was a great decision. It wasn't as much a risk, because I mean it was his first game since the World Cup, but he had been training with the squad for a month. He was getting used to this new system. Even if he'd never played the inverted fullback before, he'd had a month on the training ground to sort of learn from his teammates and learn from the manager. what a performance!
Yeah.
What a debut! I mean, I thought Juranovic was good the last time when he made his debut at left back. We'll probably go on to talking about Juranovic, but Alistair Johnston at right back, that's one of the best debuts at Ibrox I've seen. I've tried to think of really a better debut at Ibrox. Remember people talking about Zhang Zi back 10, 12 years ago, but what a performance. It didn't look out of place at all, and it looks like we've got another great player thanks to the scouting team.
I mean, Johnson, for you, Kieran, what did you think? Because it was one of those ones that, you know, there was options. We could have started Juranovic. We'll probably talk about him. We could have maybe shuffled things about and came up with something. Are you happy that he's just been kind of thrown in now? And we know the situation with Juranovic. He could be leaving the club. Do we now have the player that we know is probably going to start in that position for the next few games even?
I think you see who Celtic's starting right back's going to be in the next few, well, for the rest of the month, because I don't see Juranovic getting anywhere near that starting spot now. I mean, obviously he was thrown in at left back. We're going to talk about him, but I was really impressed with Johnson. Obviously, you got some people, Rangers fans, saying he done shite for the goal against Kent. It was a good strike. He couldn't really do too much.
Yeah.
But there's not too much you can say because he's got an unreal engine on him. By the way, there's a clip I seen him running back for the Rangers box all the way back, and it's just that's what you want for your right back, to bust a gut, and you've just got to have the confidence that if he can put in a performance like that against the rest of the teams now, you've got to hope that he's going to be even more an attacking threat than what he was in that game, because I feel like he was maybe a bit limited in that game about getting forward, but I think you can see with the pace and that he's got on him that he will be a real asset going forward as well as defending, but no, I'm pretty happy with that.
See that clip of him running back? I mean, Sakala's no slouch either. He's one of the
he's
quickest
a quick
players
guy.
on the pitch.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if Alistair Johnston's rapid. It's just he's just got an engine on him that he's never going to stop. He's going to be absolutely perfect in this team. You can tell it's a great fit already.
Yeah, and I remember when we spoke to him at the fan media press conference, and he was talking about, and I was asking, you know, the question about his ice hockey pass, and he brought up the whole thing about you know, how he likes a tackle, and he's, you know, he gets stuck in. You know, he's got the mix of everything that I think that we need, and you know, you're looking at somebody that brings on the attributes of an Ange Postecoglou fullback as well. So I think it all just adds up, as you've both kind of touched on there. Any other standout performers from the game for you?
Just the usual. Carter Vickers.
Vickers was just
that at the end there. I've seen some
Should
Rangers
we just exclusively sign North Americans?
just North Americans,
Just North
and
Americans.
Japanese players,
And Japanese players, of course.
Just be some.
It's like a World War II accent.
I wasn't going to say it. It was like
That's what it is, isn't it?
Pearl Harbor FC. That's terrible.
That's what we're aiming at here.
But no, more where that came from. I mean, Carter Vickers. I seen a few Rangers fans try to discredit his strength by the fact that he was up against Scott Wright, but I mean, he was getting fouled as well.
Yep.
Still that manages to hold him off. He's an absolute bear. I mean, I don't really want to get into too many comparisons with past players, but he's one of the best centre backs we've had in decades.
One of the best centre halves that played in Scotland and in the longest time as well. I think I can't think of many who match up to him in recent memory.
I think he's right up there with Van Dijk, to be honest.
Like, obviously Van Dijk's went on to have the career he's had, but I mean, you look at Van Dijk, who had 2 years in Scotland, 2 really good years in Scotland, but 2 years that didn't have that derby as well. Mm-hmm. So you're looking at Vickers now, he's in his second season. He's probably going to be here longer. There's definitely that conversation for him going on and kind of eclipsing what Van Dijk done in Scotland.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no hiding away from that. I think that is just the honest truth.
It's phenomenal.
Let's talk about the negatives then. Kieran Juranovic was the one that was getting it stinking the most. He came on at half time in the left back position, and he struggled, to say the least.
It was completely. I mean, people talk about Starfelt sliding in for that penalty.
It wasn't half time, was it? It was just. Sorry, I don't know why I said half time. It's just because I was thinking of a stoppage. So it's my bad. He came on.
Sorry.
Thanks for correcting me. Continue what you were saying, Kieran. Anyway,
I know people blame obviously Starfelt sliding in, but he has to slide in because Juranovic is 10 yards out of position. He was a mile off it on Monday, and I'm somebody that's no for like slagging off players that are going to be leaving Celtic and getting pure bitter about it and that. Because obviously you've seen a lot of that reaction there, like, oh, he's not giving a fuck. It's clear to see for that performance. I think he was just a fair bit off it, and I think that's why he never started at right back, because we were sort of going into the game with the assumption that he'll come back and he'll start at right back. I think that performance right there shows why Ange didn't start him, and it's just unfortunate that Greg Taylor got injured. But I think moving forward, I don't see us starting him Johnston in the next few games. Johnston's got the chance to play against Killie on Saturday. and also Killie on Saturday the following week in the League Cup semi-final. So I think it would just be a case of Juranovic waiting for his transfer out and wish him all the best. But I just can't see Ange starting a play that is going to be on the way out when we've seen that Johnson is probably the answer to be starting in the next few games.
Do you feel bad for Bernabei not being given a chance?
I do feel bad, but at the same time, on this podcast, I said I hope to God we don't play him because I can see him getting red carded. And I don't know if that would have happened. They could have put in a stellar performance to replace Greg Taylor, but I don't know if that just speaks about the level that Bernabei's at. If fans just doesn't trust him to come on in a game like this if he's there and available. So I don't know. It's a weird one. I suppose we'll see how that plays out for the rest of the season.
I think one thing's for sure, he's going to get his chance now.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say.
There is no risk to playing him against Kilmarnock. In fact, this would be sort of the game.
70 minutes in, Bernabei saying off.
No, I know. But this is the sort
I
of
actually
game.
hope he does do, just so we can make that a clip.
I know. See, you look at the running games that we have coming up, perfect for Bernabei to sort of stake a claim in the team, especially with Taylor out injured, and you'll see more of his attacking prowess, which I thought looked really, really good in the couple of sub-appearances he's made since we've came back.
He looked alright at Easter Road.
He looked really, really mobile, and then there was a point that he was under pressure and he just ran out with the ball at his feet. I want to see more of him. It's like the curious case of Bernabei. I want to see more of him to see what he's all about.
Nah, I'm really looking forward to this run because I think he's showed great qualities when he's had these kind of limited opportunities.
Yep. I think the thing is, though, a lot of fans will still remember his performance at Tynecastle. It seems as if Tynecastle is just ingrained into people's minds when it comes to bad performances, because you could say the same for Starfelt as well. Now, I know he wasn't one of the best players in the park, but he never let his head drop, I don't think.
A couple of good blocks as well.
Yeah.
I don't want to be his cheerleader every week.
It's alright, it's fine. It kind of needs it.
Just touched on the left back thing. Has it been said how long Taylor's out for? Or?
I don't think there's been a precise date given
at
for
least a
it,
few
but we know it's a hamstring. We know it's not the quickest one in the world. So
by the time this is out, they'll probably know.
Yeah, because
Ange's
presser will be out tomorrow. So we'll probably hear. I hope it's not too long because he's had a great season, as we all know.
He brings balance to the team.
Yeah, but I thought you were going to say balance to the force.
So did I nearly said it.
He brings balance to the force. Now, anything we've spoke basically about all the things to do with the game. The next big topic, we know what we're going to talk about because Celtic are having meetings to talk about it. But is there anything else you'd like to throw out other than that about the derby?
Moy should have started.
No.
Judging by his performance in the last 20 minutes.
I said he should have started.
And I don't even think O'Reilly was that bad. I thought he had a good start to the game. He was intercepting the ball well, a couple of nice passes, but he faded out. He's just not playing like himself. I don't know if he maybe needs a couple of games coming off the bench, but you know, we all know he's a good player. He'll bounce back from this. You just hope that he's alright. I know there's a sort of a bug going about the place.
Yes, I wonder.
The same for Jota as well.
Rangers, they can only win when there's bugs going about. It was the same with COVID, and
there's a big bug then.
Right, let's talk about the main talking point.
The elephant in the room.
The elephantus in the room, and that is the VAR, the refereeing, Connor Goldson's handball. I am absolutely fucking tired of seeing this same screenshot getting thrown about with if a defender blocks his hand by a reflex, it means it's not a penalty. It's not hitting him in the face.
No.
His hands are like here, like his face is here. Granted, if the two, but he's not. He's here. The man is playing volleyball. It should have been a penalty, but I don't even care that it's not a penalty as much. What I care about now is the whole aftermath of why it wasn't checked by the why the referee never checked the VAR, why he never had the final decision. At the time, Kieran, I didn't think it was cut and dry as that's not a penalty. Like, surely that had to be looked at. I know, because at the time I was pure unsure. I'm like, if you can't even put the trust in VAR in this country. A lot of people seem to think it was going to be a miracle worker up here and it was going to save. But if you've still got the same idiots in charge of it, then what's the point? Because I just don't understand why he doesn't go to check the monitor, like, at all. Like, what is the point of having the referee in the park if they're not going to make the final call? He's letting Willie Collum, who's in the wee VAR truck outside or wherever the fuck it is,
Clydesdale House,
make the decision for him. And without checking it himself, he's putting the trust in other people. So who the fuck's in charge of the game? Like, surely to God, VAR's there to help the referee come to a decision, not to come to the decision for the referee. Like, if it's no clear cut, go and have a look at the monitor. I just don't know, in a game at that scale, with so many people watching them, why you would no go to the monitor and check it. At least to try and even sell your decision if you think it's not going to be. At least try and give the illusion that you're trying to be a bit sensible about it. But it's beyond a fucking joke now.
I see a lot of Rangers fans bringing out this rule book. I guarantee if it was all the way about, they'd be screaming for it.
There's not that. Like, it's the same. I guess you can always flip it, and we can always say that it's, you know, Celtic fans are the same, Rangers fans are the same. But the thing that annoys me about the Rangers fans just now is we're being labelled as paranoid. We're apparently paranoid about everything that's going on. It was less than a year ago. Less than a year ago.
It's just the 10 point.
An 8-point letter of complaint to the SFA. Yet we are paranoid for wanting to open a dialogue about how VAR can be improved.
Willie Collum isn't allowed to ref one of their games for fucking how long after that?
And we're paranoid. I don't understand. And that's Alex Ray. He put up a tweet the other night, you know, saying conspiracy. The man has tweeted numerous times about Willie Collum, about referees. He's on Clyde every week talking about the standard of the decisions in Rangers games, and he's got the cheek to talk about conspiracy.
Alec Ray is honestly the thickest cunt on the fucking planet.
He's the fucking baldest cunt on the planet. That's what he is.
He's 2 for 2 on that, man.
Yes.
The thing is, I think, was there not a graph and it showed that... Or
how bald Alec Ray is. the scale bald. Anyway,
he's
sorry.
And it was showing the amount that clubs are paying for VAR. So was Celtic not at the top in terms of paying for VAR? It's only right that we get the best thing for the product that we are paying the most for.
It's just the lack of consistency around the handball rule this year. They just seem to make it up on a game by game basis. Like, there's been no consistency about it whatsoever since the moment it got fucking introduced. For the second we seen it in that game at Tynecastle, we knew right then this is not going to get any better. Yeah. Like, you've had the argument of teething problems, but surely the fuck it's no teething anymore.
That's the thing. You know, it was rushed in. It's on a budget. It's VAR for fucking B&M. It's honestly, it's the cheapest fucking option they could have. Me and David were talking about it last night. David Buick, shout out to him, he's still alive. But like, we were talking about it last night. It's almost as if they just wanted to shove it in to go, look at us, we've caught up, we have VAR. That's what it feels like. Because it's not effective. Because
originally it was meant to come in after the World Cup break. It got rushed in before that. It was a fucking disaster then. Yep. It's a disaster now. So, and even all the stuff that's gone on with like penalty decisions, and even if you go back to other pure stupid shit, like, it's not well equipped up here at all.
Yep.
You look at that game at Fir Park and the angle they were showing for an offside at the other end of the park. Like, are you being serious? Like, it's just pure makeshift up here.
You could have the most sensible opinion in the world on VAR. I take this with Stevie for Gig Pod, by the way, shout out to him. You can have the most sensible opinion in the world about VAR, but even though every team in this country has been, or every team in this league has probably been agreed by it so far, they've had bad decisions their way, you're still going to be labelled as paranoid even if it's a sensible opinion. That's you can't criticise it.
It's every team but Rangers.
Oh, hi.
Rangers are the only team to have benefited from this, it seems. It seems like every other team has had something. But
and that's not even a conspiracy.
No, it's not. It's like Rangers are the only team to not concede a penalty this year. They should have conceded a penalty on Monday. We've got the technology to sort that out. I mean, to be honest, we shouldn't even need the technology to give a penalty. Goldson hands the ball away. It's a shot. Yep. I thought it was the same way the Bernabei one was given was because that was a header that was going on target.
Yeah.
You see the shot, if that was going on target, does that mean it's a penalty? There's just too many grey areas.
And they need to clarify. And that's the thing. I got asked a question earlier tonight on my live stream, and let me pose it to you guys. Do you think if the VAR check was actually done correctly and they still came to the conclusion it wasn't a penalty, do you think the outcry would be as bad?
No.
No.
I think it still would be an outcry. Obviously, if the decisions went against you, you're still going to feel aggrieved, but you could maybe then accept that, right, they've at least done things seemingly
they've done
by
their due diligence.
Yeah, absolutely.
They've actually went and had a look, but when you don't go and have a look, and you're just taking the word they call them when you're the referee that's actually in charge of the game. I don't get that. Like, who the fuck's in charge?
You may as well strip away the referee role. You may as well just let cameras dictate the game. There's no need if they're going to do that. There's no need in them.
It's like a 1984 sort of situation. Your big brother watching you.
SFA can save a hell of a lot of money if they just want to sit 3 guys in a room and make the decisions all day. Don't need to send them.
I think there needs to be an overhaul with the whole refereeing system. They need to be full time. First of all,
this is my plan of action. If I was if I was the head of the SFA, I would, number one, chuck VAR for the time being. I'm not saying get rid of it forever. It's not effective. It's not ready. We don't have the people to use it. I would scrap VAR until there's such a time. I would overhaul the entire refereeing in
Yep.
this country. I would get rid of all the current referees, and I'd start getting ones in fresh and train them to be full-time professional referees, and then you'd go for there. You'd start from scratch.
I heard in a different pod, I've been listening to so many of the Celtic podcasts about this week, and they were talking about how they could maybe get former footballers that have maybe fallen out of the sort of ladder or the pyramid. They could the SFA could retrain them as referees.
Yeah.
And they've been about in the game, they've played the game to a
bad
decent
idea.
level, and it would be better.
See, I don't know if there's actually a quick fix to an issue
No,
like
it's
this,
not.
because
It's definitely something that would take a bit of time.
like it'd be years in any sense of an overhaul, because it's just the SFA and everything in Scottish football is just too set in its way and no wanting to change. And then when they do want to make some form of change, they do it absolutely. It's a pure disaster the way it has been with VAR. So I don't know if I've got an opinion on what actually could be improved, but everybody can just point out the fact that I'm not going to sit here and peddle any conspiracy nonsense. The referees in this country are just beyond useless at their jobs, and I don't think anybody could ever argue that fact, because every team
I
in
think we're all in
Scotland,
agreement.
including Rangers, have one time or another slated the standard of refereeing in this country, and it's something that's been, in my entire lifetime, I don't remember a point where the refereeing in this country wasn't making headlines every weekend. It is genuinely appalling, the standard up here.
Yep.
I mean, even down south, like, they've managed to get a hold of VAR a lot better. Now they've had it for years, but even I don't trust that the refs up here, given 5 more years, will be any more
Not going to be
confident
any
with
better.
it.
It's not going to be.
Referees just want to be part of the main attraction as well, I would say. They're ingrained in the whole thing. I think there's just a big part of arrogance in the whole thing as well. Like, I don't know if they don't want to say they're failed footballers, so they want to grab the attention for themselves, but they're just I don't see a quick fix, as Kieran was saying, at all here.
It would definitely take a while, wouldn't it? It would take a while. But we'll see what happens. Celtic are apparently going to meet with the SFA, or trying to meet with the SFA anyway.
As they should.
To try and start a dialogue as to find out what the problem is. And if I'm being bluntly honest, I think that benefits every team in this country, and it should be looked at like that.
The biggest team in Scotland are going to go and try and sort this out. That's for the benefit of everybody else. We're taking a lead on it. I don't know if any other teams will follow, but
And I don't know if Rangers fans are just scared that the outcome means it doesn't benefit them as much as it already does.
they just want an even playing field at the end of the
that's
day. We
it.
don't want any preferential treatment. We just want the system to work properly as it was designed to do.
We're never going to improve the quality of football in this league if we can't get the fundamentals right.
No, absolutely.
So, I mean, somebody has to lead the way, and I'm glad Celtic are,
Yep.
to be quite honest.
But Celtic will still get slagged for that.
Oh, yeah, of course, it's simple. Right, we've kind of covered everything in regards to the derby. We've obviously got to preview Kilmarnock tomorrow, because obviously this podcast being the Friday night, just to clarify.
I was thinking in my head. there.
Yeah, no. So Kilmarnock
12
tomorrow.
already?
Well, yeah. we'll get into that in a moment, but we'll split up the show a little bit with a halfway point quiz for today. And obviously we've been doing a rotation of quizzes.
great,
And and we're back to the old who's that tick.
Love it.
Remember the career
fuck
path
yeah.
of each player and who they were. So Kieran made I left it last minute. I dropped it on Kieran last minute, so he had to rush one together. Kieran, appreciate your efforts. Love you, mate. Thank you very much. See you next week on that bus heading to Hampden. Christ, the next episode will be a Hampden preview. It feels weird saying that. It's time for Who's That Tick. As always, I will give one of you each a player, giving you the club that they signed Celtic, well, they came to Celtic from, and then they left Celtic for. Okay. This week's clue is both of them have had their say on Derby Day.
Wow.
So there you go. Right. Who won the last? Obviously, you've done the joint together, didn't you? So Ryan, you managed to get a good few in that. You got that Richie Towell that I never thought. So I'm going to let you pick if you'd like player A or player B.
Give me player B.
Got player B, right? So that means you're up first, Kieran. I think you would have preferred player B. I'm going to
I would have picked player B.
Would you have? Right, okay. So player A, he joined Celtic from, and you might have never heard of the club. He joined Celtic from Stabæk, who are a Norwegian team, just to clarify. He joined Celtic from Stabæk and left Celtic for Wigan Athletic.
Oh, I've got this.
You got it?
Wigan.
Yep.
I think I do.
I had a player in my head, and then
As
when you
always, I'll
said
give a
Wigan-
couple of like not giveaway clues. So for Celtic, he made 50 appearances between the year of 2010 and 2013.
Yeah.
You've got the player, aye.
Hoyveld.
You hit the post for that one.
Hit the post. It's not Hoyveld. Sorry, Kieran. Sorry. McGinley, who is it?
Thomas Rogner.
Thomas
I was actually going to say that initially, but I didn't think he went to Wigan.
I remember him in the Wigan kit.
Yeah, Thomas Rogner. He ended up going to Wigan for a couple of years. Only made 12
Was that when he was playing? Was it Owen Coyle was the Wigan manager when they went down? Was that directly after Martinez?
Directly
As
after
soon as I heard the
Martinez.
Norwegian team, I was thinking Thomas Rogner, but I thought, was it the other way about that Hingy played for Southampton?
Yeah,
He did
Hoyveld,
play for
aye,
Southampton.
because I had
Aye.
Rogner in my head
Quite a
playing
few
for...
appearances as well.
And I had it in my head Rogner went to Southampton.
Yeah, he's still playing, Thomas Rogner, at the age of 30. He's only 32.
I was young when he played for
Ah,
us.
he's only 32.
Wasn't that bad to defend?
Yeah, so he's currently playing for Henrik Larsson's club Helsingborgs in Sweden. So there you
He
go.
scored in the game, was it 3-2 or 3-1? 3-1 or 3-2? I know we were down at Ibrox.
He scored to beat them. 25th of March 2012. He scored in Celtic's 3-2 defeat to Rangers.
Yeah, because we were 3-0 down. We nearly pulled it back to 3 each.
That's right. Okay. So he didn't have too much of a say on Derby Day, but he certainly tried. Right, Ryan, your player, which is one that I think is a bit easier. A bit easier.
I'll get it
but
wrong then.
let's go for it anyway. So he joined Celtic from Dundee United, and he left Celtic to join Bristol City.
Mark Wilson.
Mark Wilson. Wow, quick one there. Well done.
See,
There you
I
go.
spend so much time on Wikipedia. when a player or a pundit does something of note, I'll look them up on Wikipedia to see where they've been. Just remember these ones.
He's a Coat Bridge boy, isn't he? He went to St Ambrose.
He's related to my mate Ben.
There you go. He went to
Cousin, or I think it's cousin. Shout out to Ben.
there you go. I think he's from. He went to St Ambrose. I know that.
St
Anyway.
Ambrose and Coatbridge,
Yep,
yeah.
and he played for Celtic between, of course, 2006, 2012, 90 appearances, 2 goals for the club, and one of them happened to be against Rangers after knocking Sasa Papach out.
He certainly did.
So there you go.
It's such a great shot, the first one. The second one was so strong. But that's the only way it would have went in.
I know.
It was mental.
Right, well, that's that.
Shame game.
Good. Aye, that's right. So it was. Right, let's move on then to talk about Kilmarnock tomorrow then. It is at Parkhead. It's a 3 o'clock kick-off. It feels like we've not had a Saturday 3 o'clock in ages because of the festive period, when in reality we had a Saturday 3 o'clock
Christmas Eve.
But
No, that was a half 12.
no, so it was. That was half 12. So it
One
has
bit-
been quite a
one
while.
before then. Oh,
So it would have been before the break.
Because the game after the break,
We had away games, didn't we?
we had a midweek one, the 21st.
Aberdeen,
So
then Livingston, then St Johnstone.
Aye, there you go. Aye, so this is the first Saturday 3 o'clock in ages.
Lovely.
As we take on Derek McInnes's. I don't know how to sum up Killie because they're not exactly high flying.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
to
really
be
rubbish.
Aberdeen.
They're pretty poor. It's obviously a kind of dress rehearsal for the game at Hampden next week. It's a Celtic Park home fixture. Kieran, what else is there to say then? We should be winning the game.
I mean, after no actually winning against Rangers, I think a lot of players will be out to prove a point. I think you will see Aaron Moy starting. I think you'll see Johnson, Bernabe, as we've talked about. I think it's just important for players to get a bit of, I'm not saying they've got confidence in it, but just a wee bit of boost going into Hampden the following week against the exact same opposition. But it's one of the ones where the 2 games will be very, very different, I can only imagine, because obviously it'll be a lot more comfortable at Celtic Park. I know it's a big park at Hampden, and it's not exactly Killie's forte, playing on the wee AstroTurf pitch down there. So, I don't know, it's hard to really get any major talking points out the game itself, because you're expecting Celtic to go and hopefully put a really professional performance and try and get as many goals as we actually can, but you never know, because teams like to dig in at Celtic Park, and Derek McInnes would love to get a result at Celtic Park, so you can't write them off, certainly no, but is Kyle Lafferty back?
Good question.
It was a 10-game ban.
Hope no. Don't I see that rat bastard. Kyle Lafferty, is he back?
It was a 10-game ban.
Don't see anything about. Aye, that's right. I don't know if he is back.
That was a few months ago, but
Aye, so God knows if he is or not. I hope not to see him.
He done absolutely nothing in the reverse tie.
Aye, that's right. Ryan, Derek McInnes came out in the record this evening. He said, I think Celtic will provide the toughest challenges for all managers in the league. You have to have so many good things happen to your team. You have to have good physicality, good fitness and good speed to deal with them. Good physicality, they'll just kick in us. Do you think having Power and Cole in amongst there?
That's if they get near us, honestly. Let's be honest. If I said it in the previous podcast, but if Celtic show any sort of level at home against Kilmarnock, there'll be goals. It's not been big-headed. It's just look at the strength in the squads. Compare the two squads together. It'll be interesting to see what Team Ange does go with. I heard a couple of people sort of shouting for Kobayashi, but it might be a wee bit too early for him yet. I'm sort of penciling in the Morton game to see him and Iwata. Iwata's still in Japan at this moment in time, so
we have to make a quick, may as well just drop it here, a quick confession. Me and Kieran are going to have a scalping from Top Celt HQ because we won't be at the Morton game. We won't be there. I'm afraid that we will be in a different country. And we will not be Top Celts for the Cup weekend. So it's just the way it's fell, I'm afraid.
We'll be taking PSV.
Listen, I don't blame you after the last time we played Morton. So were you at that game?
Aye, I was.
Oh, it was bad.
Aye. I hate the early cup rounds at Celtic Park. Even if we can't get tickets, I'd rather watch them in the telly away from home. Honestly, I really would. Like, I was happy when we drew Alloa away last year. I was like, fuck, I'll take that, because it's just saving a wee bit of money. And I don't mean not to sound like a top sale, but
I'm just still going to spend the fucking £20, man.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yep, that's right. I would have went obviously if I was here, but I happen not to be here. So,
well, there'll be one top sale here because I'll still be there.
Yes, at least I think Callum Craig will be there as well. So at least we've got half the podcast representing, so that's okay.
I'm trying to think where I was when I was speaking.
I know, sorry, I know I might cut you off.
It's all right.
Kobayashi, and you'd rather see him against Morton.
And Iwata as well. Hopefully he'll be in Scotland by the time we play Morton. Excited to see him. I don't know if we're going to talk about him, but
we'll probably have a wee chit chat on transfers.
But no, it will be interesting, especially with who he goes with on the wings. Hopefully, you'd think Jota would be back to full fitness by that point. I don't know the sort of the
virus update,
the virus update, or how Haksabanovic is doing with his foot injury. I thought he was touch and go, wasn't he? So
once again, Andrew's Presser will be out by the time this is out.
That's that.
So we'll just have to wait and see.
We need to do these on a Friday night, but then again, nobody would watch them.
About 200 people watching it, man.
The real top Celts would be watching.
Exactly.
But it'll be interesting to see who we go with. I'd like to see a wee bit of rotation. Love to see Aaron Moy in the team. Be good to see him getting another start. Probably should have started the last game.
Yep.
I don't think Forrest will be starting. I know we didn't really talk about him, but again, he didn't really turn up at Ibrox. I don't think he's ever really turned up at Ibrox. It's not his game, but hey ho.
Well, let's quickly talk about team selection, get it over and done with, and move on to the next subject then, because I think next week will be a lot more in depth for Killie, because we'll get to watch this game, see the rights and wrongs, and then talk about that more in depth when we're previewing the semi-final. So Joe Hart in goals, I think we can all agree on that. Do we think that Ali Johnson will be back in the team?
I think so.
I think this is him now. He's going to have a run in the team. He's good enough.
He's got to be. Starfelt Vickers. Yep. And then left back, it's got to be Bernabei.
Got to be Bernabei. There's no risk in this game, I don't think.
Nah. I mean, who's he up against that right-hand side?
Oh, what's his name? Is Jordan Jones back?
I was about to say Jordan Jones is there, isn't he? He's cut. I don't even know.
I think he is back at Killie.
Aye. Well, it's a game that he should be playing, I think. So midfield
he
three. He
certainly had his say in Derby Day, Jordan Jones.
He has
pretty much ruined his career.
It's a sick man to laugh at that.
I'm very sick, man.
Midfield three. Who joins McGregor for yous?
I think Hattati's good enough to be in that Celtic midfield.
I forgot about that debate.
I think we'll talk about that in the questions.
Yeah, probably.
Hattati
so you said Hattati and Moy, Kieran?
I'd agree with that.
You go with that? Aye, I'd go with that as well. That's my midfield three. And then it'll be interesting to see what he goes to the front three. Kyogo is going to stay in, you'd imagine.
Oh, absolutely.
He'll stay in.
Kyogo wants to be here. So
so Kyogo will stay in. And then it's just about who joins him. He does have a dilemma on his hands as to who starts alongside him. I think that it might actually go back to Abad and Jota for this game. I know I predicted that for the derby, but I think it actually might.
I don't think you can drop Maeda at the moment. He's the informed man.
Sugar, Maeda. No, I take it back. He's got to be. I forgot he existed there for a moment.
He's been arguably, apart from Moy, our best player since coming back from the. He's shown a level that I didn't know that he was really capable of. He's shown growth in his game. He is getting better and he's improving every week.
He'll be constant after the World Cup as well. received some good praise earlier.
I felt really bad there. I just boycotted him as if he never existed.
He's done really well. Took his goal really well at Ibrox, and I think he deserves his starting place again.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, I agree. I'm happy to see him have this good
Maeda
run.
and Jota for me then.
You go Maeda and Jota, you going to him?
I would say that, but I don't know. I feel like Abada's no been getting.
I think Maeda and Abada.
I feel like Abada just for getting him like minutes into him.
Aye.
So I feel like Jota can come back and seamlessly slip back in, but I feel like Abada might take a wee bit longer. But he's capable of good things.
That would be 4 games in a row that Jota's on the bench.
I know that's weird.
That's really weird.
That's quite weird, isn't it?
And then that people, it might mean nothing, but then people that start asking questions like, "Oh, has his head been turned?" etc. etc.
Yeah.
As to why he's
on that, man.
Yeah.
He's not going anywhere.
Nah.
I wouldn't worry about that.
Nah, I don't think he'll go anywhere either. Right, okay. So score predictions very quickly to end us off. We're doing well for time.
Hopefully a wee 3-0.
3-0. 3-zip.
5-0.
Oh, he's gone for the 5. I'll tell you what, I'll meet you in the middle. I'll go 4. Bugger it. Just go for the 4-0.
Do you know we've not had a clean sheet at home since Rangers at
Aye.
Celtic Park?
You're
I heard this.
joking.
I knew
I
you
heard this in the
mentioned that,
I heard this in the Four Tims podcast.
That can't be right.
It's
Because it was like
mental.
4-2 against United, 2-1 against Ross County, 2-1 against St
It's
Johnson.
crazy, but
What the fuck?
we weren't really doing that last season as much. We weren't really conceding as many goals at home
Yeah.
last season.
We had a couple of draws at
It's
home last
probably,
season, to be fair.
do you know what that makes me think of? Ferguson's Man United. Ferguson's Man United were never famous for keeping a lot of clean sheets. Like, throughout his, but they won games,
Confused the games.
they won titles. What did you say?
I confused the games.
Oh,
I said
right,
2-1
yeah.
against St
I just
Johnson, there's
reminded-
2-1 against
aye.
Livy.
Just reminds me of Ferguson's United because they never really, they had great defenders, but they never kept clean sheets a hell of a lot.
See, the St Johnson game, I feel like in my head I've sort of remembered that as a clean sheet because I was so annoyed about the
Aye.
goal that we conceded. I was like, oh, surely he's offside.
Aye.
Stevie May's offside. I went home, I was like, oh, he's onside.
The only reason I thought of that there was because I was watching a clip of Gary Neville the other day talking about somebody and he was saying how they never prioritise clean sheets and blah blah. A bit off topic.
The win's
It's just-
more important.
Exactly.
Obviously.
You get the win, and I think that we've been happy with the manner we've been winning games. So
We were told that Ange's team were going to concede goals by the Japanese and Australian
That's right.
press. I mean,
and we
at
didn't
least he's
care.
lived
We
up-
didn't
No,
care then. We didn't care now, did we?
Win's a win.
Yeah. Right, okay. Let's have a very quick conversation about the transfer market before we move on to the Twitter questions, because today we have got the return of the quiz. I forgot the name of the quiz. What's the name of the quiz?
Is it if you know your history?
If you
man?
know your history, that's it.
We
We've
had a
got-
leaderboard and a go for that at the
I
start of
know.
the season as well. In
I
fact,
know.
was it?
Aye,
So we
it's
need to go back and
You
check.
know,
wiped the
aye.
cobwebs off of that
yeah,
one.
yeah. So we're back onto that.
Oh,
I've
wait,
got-
was that no what for the calendar year we were doing that as well?
Oh, it was. I think. Aye, it was.
I didn't get a finished half. I'm going to say I finished half.
We didn't do it for a
Call
week.
it, league's over. Curtailed.
But we'll get it back in the go then. I'll get the leaderboard back. Do you know what I might do? I might bring my whiteboard and just leave it here because I don't use it anyway, and I'll just leave it in the corner of this studio, and then every time we come up I'll update it and we can just bring it out.
I'm trying to remember because I feel like we've done it for like January, like onwards.
Aye.
We did,
Just keep
yeah.
the score.
Right, so we'll see who wins the first one of the year very shortly, but transfer wise, Giacomakis still looks to be on the out. We're still waiting to see who's on the in. It looks ever closer that we're getting Cho Gui-sung.
I hope so.
but
I mean that.
I'm not
yes.
getting my hopes up.
No, me neither. But I mean, it was a bit odd yesterday, that thing that he posted on his Instagram
Aye.
of that other striker. Now that wasn't like a recent post. That was 5 days ago. Those two strikers have been linked. Is it? I don't know his second name, but I know he's known as O. I know get Cho and O.
Ah, yeah.
Do you know what, Celtic? Why not just buy both? Because someone said Kyogo's 27, I think Cho's 23, 24, and this other boy's 21. That's great progression, I would say, to have this. I don't know how much the 21-year-old would take having that sort of position, being in and out of the team, or maybe hardly being in the team. But
So I feel if you bring in a player like that, but it's like it's not like you've got a youth product and you can just send them out on loan to like somewhere in the league. I just think it'd be a weird move for us to bring somebody off of South Korea and then send them out on loan to St Johnson. Like, you just can't imagine something like that.
I don't like loaning out players to other teams in this league anyway.
No?
Nah, I don't.
Because I mean, you've got the whole it helps them learn the league and that. I mean, it worked for Ayer.
Yeah, it worked for Christie, but they're like the only two really.
You were starting to think when we were absolutely desperate that it was going to work for Leo Hilda.
Yeah.
When he went to Ross County, and what was it? Yogi was saying he was the the best since Van Dijk. It's got to
Yeah.
be as good as Van Dijk. Now he's at Leeds.
And now Yogi Hughes has no job.
If you can't get in that Leeds defence, man, that leaks goals for
Yeah.
fun. I mean, they're
He got a
entertaining,
couple of
but
appearances as well when
couple,
all
yeah.
the teams up here ravaged with COVID in South.
be interesting to see how his career goes. Hopefully it does go well for him.
What do we make of the... It looks as though it's not going to happen, but the fact that Midtjylland were named as the top pursuing side of Giacomo, I would think that would be a
As soon as
bizarre
they seen
move.
getting linked, like you knew they weren't going to be able to afford what we were going to ask for them, because
Yeah.
you don't see teams in that like
Well,
paying
their
big
record
money
fee is
for,
£5 million, and they only broke that this summer. They're not going to go out again.
especially a team like
last
Midtjylland.
summer.
They've got a pretty similar business model. Obviously, they're owned by Brentford.
Yeah.
The owners of
It's a
Brentford.
sister club.
So it's like they're following a similar sort of structure. So it's not really in their interest to go out and spend £6 million on a 28-year-old striker. So as soon as I seen that link, it is the sideways step I was kind of expecting for somebody where Giacomakis could go. But it's just that about if these teams that is a sideward step can match the valuation. I think a lot of them might struggle to do that.
It's just going on a wee bit, this, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're either going to go or you're going to stay, but I think he's got to go.
I don't-
I think he's got
We've
to
still
go.
got a few weeks to.
I think he'll go, but I have a feeling it'll be like in the last week of the window. I think he'll be here for a wee bit, and then
Do
something
you think
might
we'll
happen.
sign somebody before he goes?
Well, that's the
That'd be great
question,
if that was
isn't
the
it?
case.
Aye, that's the question, because like, will they strike at that point? Will they? I don't know. It's a bit of a hard one to sort of judge. I think we will. If the option is there for us to sign someone like Chogo, then I think it would be daft of us to pass up the opportunity. So we're just going to have to wait and see. Anything else in terms of transfers that we need to cover? I mean, Iwata has come in. We've seen
Looking
that
forward
be
to seeing him in
announced.
this team.
Yeah.
By all accounts, he looks like a really good player. I'm just like, snap, put the money that we've paid for Japan's reigning MVP.
Is that 2 year in the bounce we've got? The J League Player of the Year was I know Maeda was top goal scorer when we signed him.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he was MVP or whatever they
but
call
use
it.
the correct terminology. Thank
Between
you.
him
Most
and-
valuable player.
I know he was joint top goal scorer with Leandro Demal, formerly the Spurs target that seemed never ending for years and years.
Yeah.
But the player before then, I think Kyogo, was he not MVP at one point as
I
well?
mean, no, it was part of the same season, but the way
Aye,
they
that
operate.
is
So because
very true, actually, yeah.
because he was top goal scorer, we signed him. Then Maeda ended up finishing top goal scorer. That's that same season for them, and then we signed him. So
I see a lot of people sort of putting this and Ideguchi's one together. They're two completely different. We're signing a guy that's probably the top midfielder in that country to come to Celtic.
we had a good we did have the sort of known risk that he'd came out of Leeds before and it hadn't really worked out, and he'd went back here and then sort of rebuilt his career a bit. And then
Yeah.
it was always a bit more of a risk than the other
Iwata's a
two.
good bit younger than the Gucci as well, aren't he?
I don't know if a good bit.
25.
Oh,
He's
really?
20, Iwata's 25.
Ignore
so
me. I've clearly ignored all my videos that I've already
Ideguchi's
made.
about 26,
Really?
27.
I thought he was a bit older. Right, there we go. There.
But I'm really looking forward to him. He looks tenacious. It's interesting to see where he'll play, because he played at centre half, but I don't think, what is he, 5'8", 5'9"? That's not going to, I mean, he's unless you're Martinez at Man United, you're not really going to play there. Maybe a sort of like Beaton role, or maybe long term Callum McGregor replacement. You never know.
Never know.
Don't want to throw that out. And
Nah. It's gonna be weird. That I'm not looking forward to the podcast that day when McGregor says he's done. You know, it's gonna be a.
just
weird-
enjoy him just now. Just enjoy him.
Just enjoy him. Do you know what's really fucking weird though? Like the fact that we've just talked about that. Like, granted, we've not had a conversation, but like the fact that just as short as 6 years ago, like McGregor was just kind of breaking into the team and stuff and getting his consistent game time, and we were talking about him as this next big thing, and now he's already 6 years, here we are, he's the captain, he's Mr. Consistent, he's nearly 30, like, it's quite crazy how time moves on.
I remember he had his initial breakthrough under Ronnie Dyler.
Yeah.
He scored against, was it KR Reykjavik?
I think so.
He scored the winner in that game, and then he scored against Legia Warsaw. That was a nightmare, that game. It was so back and forth. Then the
Done
home
well to
game,
come back and win that.
have a great 3-0 win, know what I mean? But I remember his second, because he was in the team, in and around the team, then he went out, and then I remember his second sort of emergence into it. I think he played against Hearts at home in Rodgers' first season.
Yeah.
I think Brown was out injured, he was out injured or suspended or something, and he totally bossed it. We're like, this is his position.
Yeah.
He suits being in the midfield. He was just dominating the midfield.
It's
It was
really
great.
mad he was teammates with Jack Grealish, isn't it?
It is at the same time at Notts County. It's
Mad,
crazy.
innit? Always, it's crazy. Like, I remember getting that starting a quiz or something. Like, which Celtic players been teammates with Jack Grealish? And I was sitting there like, eh? Is that who? And then obviously Notts County. Right, well, I
He's
think
been phenomenal though.
yeah, Jack
well on
Grealish
his
has been
way.
really good. I'm not
Ask
getting
Alman on that.
I'm not getting this. Aye, quite like Alman. Right, let's get into the Twitter questions, because we've got a quiz to do, and we're doing well here, so we could probably wrap this up rather quickly. Thank you everybody for contributing. As always, make sure to follow the podcast page on Twitter to get involved with the quiz. Not the quiz, the Q&A. So we'll start with Joe Walker, who says, "Can Jota and Haksabanovic play in the same team?"
They have done before. They will do again.
Quick and easy answers.
One on the left, one on the right. Haksabanovic on the left, Jota on the right.
Yeah. Hacks has already showed as well that he can also play through the middle if he needs to. So no reason why they can't, I suppose. But buzzing for Hacks to come back.
So man, it's really, really annoying. He got that injury when he was starting to break through into the team. I don't think the World Cup break helped him either, because he was just starting.
Aye.
I mean, his goals. He scored against Dundee United to hand.
Yes.
Ross County,
Ross
yeah.
County, yeah.
Ross County scored in both games. Then he done his press conference. He won Player of the Month, and then he got injured.
Yep.
Really annoying, but looking forward to seeing him back.
Love him.
So,
Right.
yeah.
Cal back in as always. Nice to see you, Cal. Kieran, I'll start with you. What were better, Adidas Sellik tops or New Balance Sellik tops?
Yeah, I really liked a lot of the New Balance brands, but there was some proper stinkers in there, so I'll go with Adidas thus far.
Yeah. I think I'd go Adidas because they started strong. I think they'll do well to continue. And when I think of New Balance, there are some screamers, some absolute favourites of mine. But as you said, like, I could just, the first season, yeah. Then like the grey and pink thing, yeah. Even the full pink one, yeah. There's too many that I did not like. Whereas with Adidas, the only one that I've really not been a fan of is, sorry Kieran, the one that he's wearing right now.
I actually hated it when they announced it, but see when I seen people wearing it after we beat them 4-0, I was like, in person it looks quite nice.
Yeah, it's better in person. It's better.
I think Adidas are judged to a different standard. People are so hard on them because they know it's Adidas. It's the sort of the premium brand, or one of the two premium brands along with Nike. Just wonder where we're going to go after that 5-year deal. Are we going to sign an extension with them, or do you think we'll go back to Nike?
I want to go to Umbro.
Joma.
Umbro?
I want mate, that is my dream, to go back to Umbro.
Really?
Think of the possibilities, man. All our greatest ever kits have been with Umbro. Think of the remakes. Think of the just. Mate, Umbro's kits are banging. Like,
They're allowed to do the replicas with the actual
exactly.
branding on
The last couple of years, right, they've fell off a wee bit, but consistently, every time I've done kit ranking videos, it was always Everton kits for the Premier League with Umbro, and it was always Hearts kits with Umbro up here that I had at number ones on the list. Umbro make a cracking kit.
Was it Man City that had their first title winning season, the 2011-2012 one?
Was that Umbro?
That was Umbro, yeah, with the sort of checkered collar. It was a beauty. No, maybe not so much for you.
It's not going to be Umbro, but I'd love it to be Umbro. It's definitely going to be an Adidas extension on Nike.
Yeah, I would say
I
so
can't
as
think
well.
of, imagine
Maybe like a New Balance.
Imagine it was fucking,
not New Balance, Under Armour maybe. I
imagine
don't
it
know.
was fucking Castle.
Premium sportswear, Ryan. Come on.
Yes. Right, a bit of a weird question from Slim Bappy, who says, if you were stuck in a remote island for a year and had the choice of 3 video games and a console to bring, what are you taking?
Oh, I need to bring games that are on that console, aren't you?
Well, you're lucky if you take one of your consoles, you can backdate as well. You can play your older games. So
I mean, obviously taking a PS5.
no, Xbox Series X. Thanks very much.
Freak, man.
I'm not a freak.
Who the fuck
You got a
is this?
PS5? Yeah, me too.
It's the green
I've
one
had
and
one
the
since
green. I'm on the.
came
You
out.
just pick the blue side, mate. That's shocking.
I've never had an Xbox in my life.
That's pathetic.
I had the
No.
360.
PS1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I
Well,
remember playing the original Tomb Raider.
The 360 blew the PS3 out the water.
Don't care.
I had both, to be fair, the two. But games, don't know, because I like a wee story game, but I'm trying to get
I'd take
Red Dead Redemption
Red Dead
2,
2.
Oh,
GTA 5.
GTA 5, that's
And then-
the 2 I was going to say. Because you've got online in that as well. I mean, I don't know if you've got Wi-Fi
I'm-
in
I'm-
this
I
remote
don't
island.
have, that's the thing. No, I don't think you would have
It's
Wi-Fi.
very Rockstar based, but I forgot you can play Canis Canimedit, well, Bully, on like you can buy
Yeah.
that on the PlayStation Store, so what about that?
I think that I'd have to take like a FIFA just so I could do career modes and
I know,
stuff.
I see
like,
the
you
first
know
when
what
I
I
go on
mean?
holiday, like, for some reason I could not play FIFA for months, but I'm pure choking to go and get AC Milan career mode.
So I think
This
I'd
is
take
a-
a FIFA for a career mode.
Who the company that do Football Manager? Is it Sports
Sports Interactive.
Interactive? This is
I'd
a
take
message.
FM.
This is a message to Sports Interactive. Can you please release Football Manager on the PS5? You
Get an
announced
Xbox,
it.
mate.
They announced it and it's still not came out yet.
Get an Xbox.
No.
Get an Xbox, mate.
But in terms of games that I would take,
I take my very high-end PC, right?
PC Master
I'm
Race.
taking my very high-end PC, and I'm taking
Steam, so I can get all the games.
Fuck off. I'm taking Football Manager. I'm patching FIFA. I'll just take FM. I'm taking Football Manager. I'm taking GTA 5, and I'm stuck between like RDR2 and fuck RDR2. There you go, bang.
I'm going to.
I was thinking Simpsons Hit and Run for a bit, but
Needs to be a remake. Come on, make that happen.
right, go. Hurry up.
Red Dead 2, The Last of Us Part 2, third game. Wow, I can't even. Assassin's Creed 2.
All right, okay.
All the
Good
twos.
for you. What you's currently watching on Netflix? I've been on a movie. But follow my Letterboxd, please, everybody. What do you mean? Listen, follow
It's
my
the latest
Letterboxd.
fad.
I've not watched-
This fad has lasted.
I've not watched the movie until I put the review on Letterboxd. Now I'm slagging you here, but I done the same last year and then
Mate,
gave it up
I'm-
after about a month.
I'm going strong.
that you?
I'm going strong. I'm hooked. I'm a movie critic now. Granted,
You're a
my,
Tarantino fan
my
now.
reviews are as simple as Margot Robbie hot. That's how my reviews
It's a good
usually
review. It's a true
go.
review.
Like, you know, like I remember like us watching Knives Out, the new one,
Glass
when it
Onion.
came- Glass Onion, aye, and like my review was simply hope this happens at my Christmas dinner. That was my
Wow.
review. That was my review.
I've only
But-
seen one scene of that, and it was them smashing ice. Was it smashing
Oh,
ice?
aye, the bad ice sculptures. Yes,
But I've heard the first one's better than the second.
as. But anyway, what he's all watching the new? Are you watching any shows?
Nah, I tried watching that 1899, the mad thing
Yeah.
about the cruise ship I told you about. Fell away from that. I'm just rewatching The Office again.
Think I'm going to start The Patient tonight.
Patient.
New Disney
right, aye.
Plus program. I think I'm going to give that a go tonight. 'Cause I think it's a bit too late the time I get home to get a film on. So I'm going to start The Patient tonight, I think.
Well, I'm going to do dissertation work when I get back.
Oh, Jesus.
Something you should probably be doing as well.
Oh, you're getting
Sorry,
laid, aye.
putting the guilt trip in you.
Fuck off.
Okay. Do you know I need to finish The Office?
Right, hurry up and finish it, mate.
But in terms of stuff that I'm watching, I'm hardly ever watching telly, apart from football. If there's football on, and then up the stairs I'll play COD.
So you've been watching Amazon Prime rather than Netflix. They had the winter games, of course.
Yeah, every game, every goal.
Yep.
That was actually quite a good service. It's
I
the
like
future.
it on
It's the
Prime.
future.
I like it on Prime.
Do you like when the managers ask each other a question?
I didn't even know they'd done that.
So, well, obviously it was the hipster managers that done it because it was
Jesse Marsh.
I don't know if Jesse Marsh was one of them, but Thomas Frank and Graham Potter were one.
Oh, I
And they
seen
both,
that. I
they
seen
both
that.
asked each other. You're like
Aye.
Antonio Conte wouldn't even entertain this. Ten Hag as well, probably. Pep as well.
Aye.
Klopp, who's in a good mood.
Klopp would probably smack you at the rate he's gone. Right,
Grumpy
Baron Levakovic, who could you see replace Joe Hart next season? Bonus Scran question, what's the best cereal? I love that from CM. Best cereal, Frosted Shreddies, don't care, that's it. Winner, bang.
I don't eat cereal.
Neither
I
do
don't
I,
eat
but
breakfast.
Frosties.
Frosties.
I used to have a bowl of Crave, but I think that's partially how I got so fat in the first place.
Cheerios.
Oh, no.
I like Cheerios.
No.
Cheerios make the milk pure sweet, man.
Right, who replaces Joe Hart? I don't know. I don't want to sit here all day trying to think of a keeper because
I
it's,
don't think it won't be anybody we know.
no, they will not.
It was supposed to be Muric, but we never put in a bid for him and he went to Burnley.
Burnley.
You know the boy that was at Man City that's good with the ball at his feet?
Yeah. Right.
Turner from Arsenal, take him.
Oh, well, probably. But a lot of people were saying about Matty Ryan recently. Probably.
I mean,
He's not
there
good
was
with his feet.
talk-
When they take him.
Who was it? We were talking about. Was it during the summer there when we were talking about Matty Ryan
Uh-huh,
and he ended up
uh-huh.
going to like somebody else?
Yep.
Or was
Didn't
that
I
2 years ago?
They ended up going to like Bruges at some point.
Because I remember he was on
Copenhagen.
telly.
Copenhagen, that
He
was
was
it.
on the telly talking about his next destination, and somebody said something about Celtic and that. I don't know if it was when Ange first came here, but I just remember something about
Was
that.
it when he ended up at Sociedad?
I think it
Aye.
was.
It was, yeah.
Aye.
Because there's a bit of beef between him and the other goalkeeper at Copenhagen.
Oh, is it? Shag some of his
Like,
misses or something.
No, it's purely on the pitch stuff.
Ah.
But they talk about the goalkeepers union. There certainly isn't a union there between those two.
Kean Sanderson asks, do we need to mic up referees and bring back interviewing them after the game?
It'd be good, but it'll never happen.
Never happened.
Nah.
Taylor injured, Anthony Devine. With Taylor injured, Johnson most likely starting again. Does Ange go for Burnley? Well, we've covered this. We said that. Cheers, Anthony, for the question anyway. Milo, is there a moment in an Ange interview that sticks out to you?
Coughing.
That's the only thing that's stopping Ange, isn't it? The cough is the only thing that's going to stop Ange.
Kieran asks, "What's your go-to takeaway?" We get that all the time. Our go-to takeaways. You need to get creative with your scran questions, lads. Come on, we're getting to the point. We've been through fucking everything. Here's one we've no had though. Max asks, "What's your Nando's order and what spice do you go for?" He says he's a hot man.
So man,
do you know, if I'm getting a wrap, I get medium, but if I'm getting anything else, I get hot. Because I just like to enjoy the wrap.
I've only had like 4 Nando's in my life, to be fair.
What's your order then?
I get the chicken wrap, but I put halloumi in it, and then peri fries and the garlic bread.
Nice.
Medium, I think I go for as well.
Nice, right?
see the portion sizes are too small, so I always make sure that I get enough. So what I get is a hot chicken butterfly.
Nice.
Plain chips. I don't like peri chips that much.
See, I'll order it between. Sometimes I get sick of them, and I get the plain chips as well.
I like having the mix.
Yeah.
So I get 2 portions of chips because you never know how big they are.
This is making me fucking starving.
I get a plain corn on the cob as well.
Right.
And obviously can put butter over it.
Cheers for that.
And
Sweet corn,
and a bottomless drink.
I'm a fat dick. If I'm feeling hungry, I'll get my halloumi dip sticks for the starter, but that's the first thing. But then for my main course, I'll get a double chicken wrap, not just a normal a double chicken wrap, medium spice, with 2 sides, and I never finished this, by the way, just to clarify, with coleslaw and peri chips, and then I also get on its own 4 chicken thighs, hot. It's a lot of fucking food.
Do you get a doggy bag, Maxie?
I've not had a Nando's in
I'll leave the chips every time.
I've not had a Nando's in a wee while, but I do have a £20 gift card.
I know.
Nando's are about 16.
I know, Nando's are robbing bastards.
I don't get that every time. That's like my once in a blue moon order. If I don't get all of that, then I'll get either the wrap with 2 sides or the thighs with 2 sides. The thighs are incredible, by the way. You have to have the thighs.
I just love a Nando's.
I do love it.
I don't have them often, but when I do, I really, really enjoy it.
Right, thoughts on Hitati, boys?
I just can't believe there's even a discussion about it now.
If you're going to have that opinion, at least keep the tweet up. Double down on it.
They knew exactly what they were doing by posting that. They knew the reaction it was going to get. So I don't understand why they took it down. Was it worse than what they were expecting? Were they expecting a nice debate when somebody's that invested into stats that you can't see a player in front of his own eyes? I think it's a weird one to do.
Watch his stats instead of watch his games. Just enjoy Hitati.
He's a very good player.
He passes the eye test with flying colours. He is so aesthetically pleasing to watch on the pitch.
Yeah.
There's no one like him. He's arguably the best midfielder in the league, I would say, along with McGregor. I don't think there's that much between the two of them. Big fan. And just enjoy him while he's here. Yeah,
and apart from that,
there was a question saying Cho or Giacomakis.
There's one for Kieran and me, I suppose. Fat Fred kind of fags. Do you smoke Royals or JP? None. Club. We're club men, which would probably get us slaughtered, but Club's the cheapest.
Is that a Kensington you're smoking?
We don't endorse it on this podcast. What were you saying? What was your question?
There was someone that said, "Do I have Cho or Giacomakis?" And I'm like, given the way it is just now, you'd much rather have a new signing that wants to.
I will miss Gigi though. I love him. I love him so much.
See, that's Cho. He's got 3 million followers on Instagram.
Had 20,000 before the World Cup. 20,000 before the World Cup. He got 3 million overnight after his first game.
Mate,
3 million overnight in his first game. That is crazy. I spoke about it the first time we got linked to him. My video, I could not. 20,000 to 3 million overnight.
It just so happens he's a good footballer as well.
It's because he told Ronaldo to piss off.
That was great.
That's the reason. And then obviously the birds love him, so they all wanted to marry him. His phone was blowing up with marriage proposals. He is a handsome fella.
He's very handsome.
He's a handsome fella.
So you're saying we should sign him for the sex appeal?
Oh, of course. That only does wonders for the business. What is it? Sex sells. That's what they say.
They certainly do.
Right, anyway, we've got a lot of questions about Hitati and the rest of it. Thank you, everybody, for piling your questions. I'm getting quite cautious of time here, and I want to finish off with the first quiz of the year, which, ironically, is the big fat quiz of 2022. We're going to revisit the year that has just passed us. As always, get involved, join in, and same with the Twitter questions. Go and follow us over there. And we want to hear your answers from home. We can hear you shouting. So, Kieran, I gave Ryan the choice of set A or set B earlier, so I'm going to give you the choice here. Would you like set A or set B?
Set B.
Set B is what you're going for. Okay, Ryan McGinley, are you ready?
As I'll ever be, mate.
As you'll ever be. Okie dokie then. Let's go. Question number 1. And if you know your history quiz 2022, big fat edition of the year. Who scored Celtic's first competitive goal of 2022?
Oh. 2022. Oh, shit.
Well, that was the theme of the quiz, right?
I think
2022.
I know.
Don't think of our first game. But, what's his name? Star of the moment, Dyson Maeda.
Yep.
Correct.
Against
Hibs.
Hibs.
Against Hibs, 14th of January 2022.
What a debut from
2-0
Tati
win.
as well.
Yes, it was. It was a
You
good
knew
game.
within 5 minutes you're like, player.
Yep. So that was the first competitive goal of 2022. So the question for you, Kieran, is who scored Celtic's last competitive goal of 2022?
Fuck, who got the fourth? Who got the fourth? Kyogo?
Kyogo's correct. Well done. 1-0. Good start to the quiz. Right, we're keeping up the theme with firsts and lasts here. Well, not really, because it's not the first up. Well, aye. It
Just
is.
get on with the question,
It
right?
kind of is, aye. What was the final score on Trophy Day versus Motherwell, Ryan? The final game of the Premiership season in 2021-22.
It was either 6 or 7. I'm going to go 6.
Correct.
Aye.
6-0 was the score. Which means, Kieran, the question is, if you can maybe guess what it is, what was the final score on Flag Day versus Aberdeen in the opening game of the
2-0.
2-0. There you go. Just didn't even let me finish the question. Just right in there. So 2 each. Good start. Very good. Right. Ryan. How many SPFL Manager of the Month awards did Ange Postecoglou win in 2022?
2022.
Not including the month of December because it hasn't been awarded yet. So out of the months between January and November.
I'm going to go 5.
Oh, good answer, Ryan. Good answer. I think he won it January, February, March. Then I think he won it August, September. Or something like that.
Why the months was
November.
sort of joined together, I think.
It was September and October was joined together. So there you go. Well done. And I think David Martindale won November, didn't he?
Did they?
I think so. I think he did. So there you go. That's 5 is the correct answer anyway. That's the answer I was looking for. So Kieran, your question. How many times was a Celtic player named SPFL Premiership Player of the Month in 2022?
Four.
It's not 4.
What is it?
Correct answer's 3.
Three.
So I think we had Kyogo as one of the months.
Jota, sure.
Jota
Jack
had one of the
Marcus.
months. One of the months. No, I think Haksabanovic.
So he was.
Aye, so I think that was the 3. I looked it up earlier, but it has slipped my head. It was definitely 3. I've just not got down who the 3 were.
So February, March time.
They gave it to some daft. Like, I think that's
Charles Cook would have probably got
He
a
won it in
few.
January. He won it in January. I know that. Right. Anyway, it's 3-2 to Ryan. On to question number 4 for you, McGinley. Who scored Celtic's only goal in both legs versus Bodo Glimt in the Conference League games?
It was Dyson Maeda
It
again.
was Dyson Maeda again. Well
Header.
done. Two Dyson Maeda answers, which means, Kieran, you need to get this one right to keep yourself
Precious,
in
aye.
with a chance. Who scored into Celtic? Who scored into Celtic in the 2-1 win against Alloa in the Scottish Cup?
Connor Salmon.
Connor Salmon, correct.
Should have scored that one for the whole fight. Back up John Hartson.
Right, so this is it. This could be you, McGinley. This could be your chance to win the quiz, the first of the year. How many present and former Celtic players were involved at the 2022 FIFA World Cup?
And former.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Let me go through them.
He's got to sit and count every name out here, hasn't he?
Absolutely. Why
Is it-
wouldn't you at this point?
Does it mean like had to have played or actually just named in a squad?
Named in a squad.
Oh, there's a fair few then. So you get 4 that we had. Jackson Irvine, Virgil van Dijk. I'm trying to think of any more. Going I'm going to go for 6.
Oh, you're way under, mate. 9
Frimpong
is
you
the
missed in that
correct
as well.
answer.
Bong.
9. So
Ah,
you
I
missed.
didn't even play.
So you went for just Van Dijk and Irvine. There was 5 former Celts involved because there was Virgil van Dijk, there was Jeremy Frimpong, there was Jackson Irvine, there was Olivier and Cham,
Cameroon.
and there was Timothy Weah. So there you go.
Yes.
There you go.
He
So
scored.
Kieran, you've been handed a golden opportunity
Lifeline.
here. Golden. And do you know what the worst part is? I've not set myself up with a tiebreaker question, but I will get one because we can do numbers. So Kieran, the chance to equalise, the chance to take it to the tiebreaker question. Celtic travelled to Sydney in November to take part in the inaugural Sydney Super Cup. Who scored Celtic's goal against Sydney FC in the first game of the tour?
God, I can't even remember this.
I remember them scoring. I don't remember their goal very well. So I think who the fuck was even playing? Fuck. I'm never gonna get this. I didn't even watch it.
Don't overthink.
Kyogo.
He's ready. That's Kyogo. Do you know what? Do you know what I'm entertained though? You know what I think?
Showmanship.
Showmanship, man. We wanted it. Could have been Giacomakis.
Is that a really shot that hit off Kyogo?
I think it was, aye.
Just
aye.
tear up Celtic wins.
Look
I was
at
going to go
extra
for some cutting like Stephen Welsh as well.
Watch me lose this now.
Well, do you know what? We can't just rob them of entertainment
Yes,
like
we
that.
can. We can just call it a draw there now because I know.
I'm choking for a piss, man. Gratitude was all
Well,
that.
you're going to have to. You're
Season
going
of
to.
goodwill. Can we just call this a draw? 'Cause I know I will bottle this.
Right.
Guaranteed.
Okay.
Oh,
So
he's
my
still
question.
typing. He's still
My
typing.
question to you is. And McGinley, because you've been a wee bit hard done by, I'll let you guess first.
Oh, thank you.
Right, so how many?
So you'll let Kieran gauge the answer that I give, and he can.
Don't
then work
overthink
off
it,
that.
Kieran.
Go a wee bit higher, Kieran.
Right, are you ready? How many league only? How many league goals did Celtic score in the calendar year of 2022?
So if we've just passed 200, all in, no competitions. 200 no competitions, yeah. I'm gonna go 95.
Right, okay. Right.
I think how many league games?
Dum.
I'll go 80.
Dum. Now, see, the worst part is I need to actually go and do the maths.
So much. Can I go to the toilet when you do the fucking maths?
Well, you might stand up and leave and come back when I've counted all the goals for the 2022
Are
season.
you actually counting them? Mikey, this is a question.
This is the worst podcast
Right,
in
do
history.
you know what? To make it easier then, right? Okay, make it easier. You get a wee guess.
Why?
Right. How many goals did Celtic
Why?
score?
I've given an answer.
How many goals did they score in the 21-22 campaign overall? Because that season's finished. How many? Well, take me to get the show ended, mate. I didn't come prepared.
No.
Come on, this is a chance to see who the first winner is, man. How many goals? It's not you. You didn't answer the question right.
I know he did with some intervention.
I'm going to guess 84.
84.
Just to get this fucking
21, 22.
Aye.
21, 22.
He's
You're
counting.
counting these. I help you. So help me God, you're over with the back of my hand.
125.
125?
No, actually.
And
no.
you've said it now.
See that?
You did. That's always been the rule. First answer. 125.
Don't overthink
In a
it.
league campaign.
Who was playing up front? Fuck's sake.
An elite campaign.
Aye.
Right.
Right.
Let me redo it.
Oh,
No,
no, it's
no,
too-
that's fair enough.
You said
Let the boy
Come on.
read it. Fuck me. I can't be arsed
So
listening.
Kieran's went 84.
Right. 97.
Well, the correct answer was 92. Which means, well done, Ryan McGinley.
God.
You've been given your win that you were great. 120 fucking 5. Christ. Right, that brings the show to an end today. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming along. I hope I've entertained you to some extent. I just, you know what I just done there? Looked at the camera and I thought I didn't press record.
I'd fuck you up, man.
No, I've seen that red button the whole time. I've been checking, don't worry.
Thank God. But that is us at the end. Kieran, thanks. You enjoyed yourself, son?
It's been a good laugh.
You just need a piss now, didn't you?
Yep, busting.
Ryan.
Had a great time.
Lovely. Right, we'll see you next week ahead of our trip to Hampden. Enjoy. Hail, hail, and see you next time.